take all the kids and meet the teachers and see the little macaroni drawings and everything. So when we were there, two of our children, I won't mention which two, asked if they could go ahead to the main room for PTA punch and cookies. And I thought, well, there's probably no harm in that. So they went ahead and we went around with the other two and we looked at all their drawings and met the teachers. And so about 10 minutes later, we decided to walk on down to the gymnasium, and there was this unusually long line filed all the way out the door past the principal's office. And I thought, well, that's strange. I wonder what the holdup is. So I walk over and I look in the door and I see two children that look suspiciously like the two that we brought that night at the front of the line, and this is what I'm looking at. They're leaning like this. And I thought, well, what are they doing? So I smile, I go to the line, I get to the top, and I turn thing one and thing two around. And, oh my word, they had cookies stacked from here. So worried. They said, cookies? Yes. So they wanted to put them back. We can't put them back. So we sit off by ourselves. Nobody else sat next to us. We had cookies for the remainder of the conference. But it's funny how things work out, because those two children are now teenagers and they like sweets so much they're getting their just desserts, because apparently I embarrass them now. But something happens before your kids become teenagers. You wake up in the middle of the night and you hear a man riding on a horse through the town yelling, "The hormones are coming! The hormones are coming!" And when boys turn 16, it's kind of like a top 10 country hit. You can lock me up in prison, but you can't keep my face from breaking out. And their little faces get fuzzy and their voices lower a little bit. Not much that you can't handle. But when your daughter turns 16, that morning, it's like the opening scene of Lion King. The sun is cresting over the horizon, and you hear the sounds of and then every hairy-legged boy that you said, do not come back until she's 16, is lined up outside. Ever changed and altered. I need another hour to just toast my kids right now. I'll be done shortly. But right now our kids are aged 15, 16, 17, and 19. So on Sunday mornings we just line them all up, and whoever has the least amount of driving experience gets to drive us to church. That way we can get all of our prayer time in before Sunday. And Paul is getting ready to turn his ministry over to shy, timid Timothy. Does that sound familiar to any of you? Can't you just see throughout history that God has used the most unqualified, the least likely people to do some of his greatest work? Ladies, you have no idea the kind of things that God wants to if you will just step out in faith when he asks you to. But when you do, remember to do it God's way.